What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I want to thank you as always for stopping by the channel. I hopefully have a fun video for you today. It's a throwback review. We're going to take it back to 2008 to talk about Rambo, starring, of course, Sylvester Stallone, who would also co-write and direct this rebooted sequel that would come out on the 20th anniversary of the last film. In this one, Rambo's just living in Thailand, minding his own business. He's seemingly numb from the violence of his past, and when a group of aid workers are captured by this very ruthless infantry, he's going to team up with a small group of mercenaries. They're going to travel upriver into war-torn Burma to try to rescue them. Like I said, this movie came out 20 years after Rambo 3, which also means Sylvester Stallone was 20 years older as well, but it did not stop him at all from delivering another fantastic outing as this character in a film that I think gave fans of the franchise all they could ask for and more. These movies for me were just staples of the 80s. The first one was a very serious, grounded story of this soldier suffering from PTSD in a world that he felt abandoned by after the war. The second two films are just pure one-man army action extravaganzas that are just solidified in the era. I think this film really did capture the nuances of those past films, and it blended it with the special effects of the time and created one of the most purely violent mainstream action movies you're going to find, and it was fantastic. The film opens up with a brief depiction and layout of the violent and horrific genocide that's going on just up north. It sets the foundation for the plot, and then it opens up with Rambo. He's in the tropical jungle settings we're used to seeing him in, just doing the things that Rambo would do. He's minding his own business. He's catching huge snakes out in the wild. He's shooting fish with arrows at sunset on his boat, forging metal, and just living his life as the boatman. And then it's disrupted. He's approached by this group of aid workers. They're wanting a ride up into Burma. He knows it's bad. He's conflicted, but you know he's going to do it. But I think some well-written dialogue really is able to kind of revisit the torment of his past in a short amount of time to kind of capture that mindset he has. I think this is where the first act really did an excellent job of reacquainting the character with audiences, and it was very effective. And from there, the pace takes off, and it does not slow down until the end with just constant practical settings and very tense situations to pull the viewer into the storyline routinely. There's no artificial sets, no studio backlots or green screens, and it was a perfect realistic backdrop for a realistic plotline that was able to incorporate a ton of tension, suspense, and action, but with minimal suspension of disbelief needed. The premise of this small country being ravaged by a violent army to take control of the land is unfortunately something that happens in our world. It makes the main plot point of trying to save these innocent characters that much more engaging and very easy to connect with, which results in a surprising amount of an emotional connection for a pure 80s inspired action film. I thought Stallone's direction was great. I mean, he knew exactly what he wanted to accomplish with the look and the tone of this film, and he pulled it off. The variety of camera techniques throughout really captured the emotion and intensity when needed. He routinely opens up the scene with a very drawn-back shot to just capture the vast size of the natural landscape that they had at their disposal, and it was perfect for the needs of this movie. There was nothing very flashy about his direction, but it was very capable. It was extremely fluid and perfect for letting the characters and specifically the action take the spotlight. And Stallone also showed zero hesitation in capturing just the violence of this film, and while some may not find it to be their cup of tea, I think for the needs of this plot, it was perfectly able to capture the primal evil that Rambo was going to go up against. Something else I liked about this movie was the fact that Rambo seems even more withdrawn than he was in past films, possibly like the fight is maybe lost in him, which does kind of create that compelling aura of foreboding excitement. As you know, he's going to be forced to do what he does best, and when he does turn it on, it's like he didn't skip a beat despite 20 years passing. I mean, on their own, this group of mercenaries are more than you could need for any other solid action film, but when Rambo comes in with his compound bow, taking people out with precision, you realize that these guys are kind of like a fart in a wind tunnel compared to what Rambo is, even in his golden years, yet the film doesn't stretch his limitations, and the result is just action movie magic. Now, there is no doubt this movie is very familiar to Rambo 2, but I don't think it hinders the entertainment, and for me, the nostalgia was kind of a nice addition to the overall mood of things while watching. There are just enough nuances to the story that make it feel fresh, and with a fast pace, the movie does a good job of keeping you on edge. The last almost 40 minutes of this movie is pure non-stop action, and just watching the group infiltrate the village under the cover of night brought back memories of 1985 when Rambo was doing the exact same thing in Vietnam. The natural lighting and the the weather effects just add layers of tension, which elevates the uneasiness in all the good ways you want it to. And like I mentioned, Stallone was very capable as Rambo, but he doesn't stretch the human abilities too far into the unrealistic, and it was awesome. He's ripping out throats, he's using his knife, he's using his arrows and his accuracy, his experience, he's running full speed in the woods, and using his skill set as a man his age would. And with Stallone doing a bulk of his own stunts, I think being able to actually see him accomplishing this physical activity just makes it that much more believable while watching. The entire final act is just a wave of glorious violence and CGI blood that just brings a smile to my face as a fan of action movies and Rambo. It's clearly the definition of glorified violence, as Stallone just spends several minutes behind a mounted gun ripping through waves of bad guys in the only way Stallone could do, and that's with cinematic fashion. To me, this movie showed that at least one of the classic movie icons of the 80s still had plenty of gas left in the tank for action movies. Rambo is Stallone. Stallone is Rambo. He's had a passion for this franchise. It shows in this film in all the good ways, from the writing to the directing to the acting. I think he was perfect in this one, and you can call me a fanboy all you want, but I'm going to have to give this version of Rambo 100% on the entertainment meter for what it set out to accomplish. I think it absolutely succeeded, and while you may not want any red meat after this one, I still highly recommend checking it out if you haven't seen it, and if you have, revisit it. Take yourself back to 80s cinema with a film that really showed a perfect homage to the era of filmmaking in the genre. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop it a thumbs up, leave a comment below. I'd love to talk movies with you guys. Share it with your friends, and without question, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can never miss a video. Here are some links to some recent reviews just in case you missed them. All my social media links and the link to our official website are down in the description below, and I'll catch you next time.